Welcome to Shop Talk Live, episode number 353. We have an interesting show for you today. If you're watching on video, you can see that I am joined by Mike Pekovich, and we're going to chat a little bit. And then following that, I have an interview with a tiny bit of wood school runner and woodworker out in Michigan, Shannon, and she talks about all of her struggles opening and running a wood shop, and all of the joys and all of the ups and downs that come with it. And I've always loved her feed. Mike, have you seen Megan's feed?
I don't know.
Megan does, like, she mills the lumber. She has very, very affordable classes. Her school's like in the middle of the community. She's like, it is a true community space woodshop school.
Awesome.
And a lot of kid classes, a lot of really fun things going on there. I've always loved Megan's feed, and she really like inspires me. It's like, she's one of those people that I look at and I see the future of woodworking, and I'm like, okay, we're good. We're going to be fine.
Right on.
Because people like Megan are here, you know?
Cool.
So, yeah. So Mike, Tools and Shops just came out.
Yeah. That was a bit of a beast to get out, but it's out. Now it's good.
We're in the middle of shipping another beast, though. So
the very best thing about the issue and is the fact that if you get it and you try to peel off the mailing label, it peels off. That is such a huge thing. And as woodworkers who pay attention to the smallest things, we had gone to a new printer a few issues back, and for some reason they had never heard of label glue that actually comes off. And I think the biggest challenge was trying to explain to them why our readers find it very important to peel off the mailing label. And we're like, why do we need to explain how is it not important? And it's like, people keep these, they have complete issues going back 50 years. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's see. So lo and behold, I was down at Kate's Florida School of Woodworking. They had an issue there. Someone said that it peeled off. So I grabbed the issue they got sent to them and peeled it off, and it was great. So I didn't want to say anything until I got a second issue that peels off as well.
I didn't find out until the boss, your boss, mentioned it, and I immediately ran and grabbed mine, but I was like, no, I'm going to film it first.
Yes.
Because it really was a big deal to a lot of people. And I would have never seen that coming. I am not, like, I have my issues right up there that have my name in them. But I'm not like the full archive person. Like, when we moved out of the office, I was like, no, my full archive can get donated. You know, I just, I'm not that guy, you know? So, I love the website and PDFs and things like that, and they take up a lot less room. But there's a lot of people out there that really drove them nuts.
And I think we heard from most of them, and it was really tough. I wanted to print something, you know, in the letters column about it, but I didn't want to until we had a fix for it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say, yeah, I know, we're working on, you know, it's like, so I think my letter from the editor is going to be about a label that peels off. Yeah. So
coming in issue 321.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that. For some reason, that just tickles me. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, yeah, everything else is great. It's a good issue. Like, yes, even beyond the label, it's pretty awesome.
I just peeled off the label and set it aside. That's it. I haven't. No. Shop lighting.
Yeah.
You got new lights.
I got new light. Yeah, my friend Doug Lee, who is like way more overqualified to install shop lighting than anybody. Um, Came and did it. He had done lights in his shop. I talked with him, and it sounded like a really good solution. Yep. I have tons of fluorescent fixtures. We pulled the bulbs out. We replaced it with this adhesive back LED strips that just tape right into the same fixtures. Yank the ballast out, replace those with a little driver, and man, it is just as bright as can be. I just kicking myself for not doing it a lot sooner than this.
I can't wait to see it. I still haven't seen it because
Yeah, Andrew Finnegan is hot
mhm.
rodding a lathe like no one can.
It's so
Uh,
great.
yeah, he's a pro turner. He did a review for us on kind of mid-sized lathes, and he's really funny because he is so demanding in what he looks for in a lathe. It's just like, oh yeah, this is a great lathe. Talking about a lathe review. This is a fantastic lathe. I would just replace the banjo and the tool rest and the drive center and the live center. And it's like, well, what? How does that
What
make
else
a
is
good lathe?
there?
So yeah, so we said, well, okay, as a follow-up to the review, let's let you do what you would do to a brand new lathe or recommend any of us do to our lathes if we want to kick up performance a little bit. So that's an awesome article.
One of my favorites is our co-host Vic got his day in the sun with no table saw, no problem.
Yes.
And I mentioned this at the issue preview party, which if anyone out there is an unlimited member, and you've hidden our emails, which no judging, but make sure that you're signed back up for the membership emails because we do issue preview parties. And a week or so before the issue comes out, we get together, usually me or Amanda and Mike and one of the editors get together and talk about the issue and what's coming out and the fun backstories behind it and all that stuff. But in the issue preview party, I mentioned that I was surprised to see a no table saw, no problem shop that was not like no table saw, no problem. Everything is a bandsaw.
Yeah.
It's really like it's not a bandsaw centric shop either. Vic's system. So it's
Yeah.
it's interesting to me. Um,
Yeah. I'm just pausing because it's like I want to write an article on a bandsaw centered shop where the only piece of power equipment you have is a bandsaw and then a bunch of hand tools. Because
yeah,
I think that to me is the ideal hand tool shop is just a little help
I
from a
think
bandsaw.
I think Schwarz used to say like hand tools, a bandsaw, and a hollow chisel mortar set. Which like honestly, I get that too. Like that would be a really powerful shop. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
could skip the hollow chisel mortar. I might have to throw a little drill press in there though.
Oh, I no drill press. Drill press comes with me no matter what I'm doing in life. I
Yeah.
need a drill press, period.
Yeah. How much of that other stuff, non-machine stuff, still counts towards just having a bandsaw shop? Like chop saw? That's
No, see, I don't have a
okay.
chop saw. So, all right.
Okay. Anyway, getting off top. So yeah, Vic's article is awesome. And I think it is a true, not just a workaround per se, but here's a system of working that really, really works. And it just doesn't involve table saw.
Yeah.
And it's sort of interesting in that when we were in England, we visited a woodworking school where they had a table saw, but it was literally set up only for ripping. It's like, where's your crosscut sleds? How do you do this? How do you do this? It's just like they had a way to do everything. So in a way, they're almost a table saw free shop in that the only thing they used a table saw for was ripping. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
bandsaw rips pretty well and smooth up that edge. You're ready to go. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, great article. And if you ever wanted to know any more about sandpaper than
I
you
was
might
just like,
already
just
know,
Adam Goday, man, he
yeah,
killed it.
yeah,
Yeah. Adam really, man, like he's a workhorse. Every I think it's called All About Sandpaper. Um, and online we called it because we already had an All About Sandpaper. Online we called it or are going to call it Sandpaper 101. It should be Sandpaper 101 through 301.
True. Yes. Yeah. Asa Christianita was editing the article, working with Adam on it. And at some point, I didn't hear from Asa for a while, and Asa just said, I think we're going to need a bigger article. It's like, okay, just whatever it takes. Let's get it
Yeah.
in there. Yeah, that's great.
Well, and then he also did like sanding lights and tools and materials. So like he's just, I mean, he's all over this issue. Adam is an unsung hero of fine woodworking, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think he's one of the core voices of fine woodworking, and I'm very happy about that. He's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Adam, for anyone who doesn't recall, he did an awesome hard wax oil finish review for us, which is
Mhm.
something I'd been wanting to do for like 10 years.
Yep.
Ever since the O word was raised at a woodworking class many years ago, Osmo, it's like, I
Hmm.
don't know what, I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. I
Yeah.
can't tell you about it. So, yeah, so he did an awesome job with that, and we got him slated to, yes,
Oh,
we'll leave it
okay. All
at
right. All right. He reeled it back in, folks.
that. Yep.
Well, cool. I guess the other thing that we need to talk about is a course that I'm doing,
Yeah, right
which is
on.
weird. Um, and it is going to be it's available to sign up for right now, and it's going to be released the reason why we're talking about it now, it will be released before the next podcast airs,
Oh,
but
cool. Wow.
November 11th. Yeah, we're Jeff is working hard.
Seems like every time I talk to you, how's it going? Oh yeah, we're good. Just one more day. Okay.
Yeah.
So how's it going, Ben? Oh, excellent. Maybe just another day. Yeah.
It's so it got legs. It grew. It was so initially it was just going to be at Woodworking in America last year, I did a presentation on 3D printing for woodworkers.
Yeah.
And it was going to just be like this little mini thing about, hey, if you want to get into 3D printing and you don't want to learn 3D printing enthusiast stuff, you just want to have, because I scream this all the time, it is a tool in my shop. You know, it is not, I'm not printing the things that most 3D printers are printing, you know? So, if you just want to jump in there, it was going to be like a little mini course. And then it just started getting legs. And then Jeff talked me into doing like a little bit of Fusion 360. Like, so I was going to just have some Fusion 360, uh, files that users can modify. And then Jeff was like, hey, maybe we should do something from scratch. And it just grew from there. So, it's a 3D printing course. It's a little bit of a mini intro to Fusion 360 course, which I'm excited about. And then we just did like all of the woodworking bits of it the other day, where it was now taking all of these jigs that we printed and here's what to do with them. And yeah,
Yeah.
so
I've been trying to get you to do a quick article for us on what to do with it because you do awesome things, not just like you do like the hose fitting adapter for shop vacs and that kind of stuff, but you're doing really cool things like, okay, so
so I'm
you sent me a picture of a knife hinge, the L-shaped knife hinge,
the
and
offset knife hinge.
it was immaculately inset. It was a perfect hinge mortise. And you were trying to convince me that you did this with a 3D printed template.
I did.
Okay.
I
I saw the
did. I,
hinge.
I, 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 I mean, there is a little handwork, right? But I'll tell you this, here's the secret. 3/16" pattern bit is magic.
Mm, this is the one
They,
from Amana.
yeah, they exist and they are made of wonder dust and fairy dreams. I mean, I could not believe, like, I still look at it, I go, how is this possible? And so yeah, like the little Brusso hinge, and I said this in the class that like because I show templates two ways, one with a bushing, one with the 3/16 inch flush trim bit. And but the flush trim bit is cheaper than the hinges. So buy the flush trim bit. Um and yeah, so there's a little bit of a radius to chisel away. So there's a little handwork there. Um but I'm willing to bet that that hinge that I sent you the photo of was maybe 5 minutes with me talking.
Right.
So like template on the thing, just zip, 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 and then chisel it away. There's one edge that I leave to fit with handwork, and that's it.
Hmm.
And yeah, I was really pleased with that. I was so proud of that template that I sent it to Tim Coleman, or I sent a picture of it to Tim Coleman. Like
Wow.
that's
That's,
bold.
yes, that's a bold move.
Because when we were making his cabinet on stand video, I was, filming him do knife hinges and not, I don't sit there and think like, oh, there's a better way all the time, right? But I sat there and thought, this could be done with 3D printing, and I want to get there. And
Yeah.
then Chris Gochner did his article a few issues back on, he did two knife hinge articles,
Yeah.
and his templates are incredible. His methods are incredible. Very similar to mine. I'm just printing the template. I'm doing that
Right.
work in CAD and then printing it. And then the same handwork really, but yeah. So I think 3D printing is a super, super powerful
Yeah.
woodshop tool. And if you're interested, there's a course.
Yeah. I think that's the perfect intersection is it's not a course from a guy who does 3D printing, and it's not a course from a woodworker who's tried it once, watched me stumble my way through it. This is from a person knowledgeable in the cross section of woodworking and 3D printing who's been incorporating this stuff into their home shop for a long time now. So I'm looking forward to seeing it because I really only been watching vicariously through the things you show me every now and then. Check it out. It's a mortising template. Guess what? When I'm done, I throw it away. Why? Because I'll just print another one if I need it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I did sauce hinges, and I used templates that I printed 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And then since, for a set of two sauce hinges, you have four mortises. Well,
Right.
really eight mortises.
Oh, because the stepped mortise.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
stepped. I just printed up all of the templates. So I had them all on the boards all at once. So I printed up
Wow.
four of each template because each one costs about 37 cents.
Wow.
And then as I just get my router going, my depths are set. I'm just going down the line like production style
Wow.
and super quick. And now we'll just throw them out. But I will say we will be finding little gray pieces of 3D printed templates all over the shop for years to come because I printed so many templates for this video series that like the other day I was looking for something. I was like, oh, there's another one. But
Very
all right.
cool. I'm looking forward to it. Yep.
Well, let's answer one quick question now that we have you on.
Okay.
So Michael wrote in, I have a friend that just offered me free walnut boards that have been stored in a barn for 40 years. Most of the planks are about 10 feet in length, 6 to 8 inches wide, and are of varying thicknesses from 1 inch to 4 inches thick. The problem is, over the years, raccoons have urinated on the wood. I imagine that most of the urine, why do I feel the need to censor that? That's the nice word. Has only been on the top boards with some running down the stack. The stack has also been stored on concrete floor, so probably has absorbed moisture from the concrete. I've not seen the lumber since it's about 300 miles from my home. I'm thinking about renting a U-Haul and go pick up the lumber. What advice can you give me in regards to the possibility of this free lumber? Would you let it go or would you go get it? Price of
Uh,
walnut.
I'd be all over that in a heartbeat.
You
Um,
would.
100%. And I actually I was super excited to answer this question because we'd gotten, I don't know, did you go out to the Sawyer in some weird part of Connecticut who was sawing walnut and we all bought some boards from him, some air dried
No.
walnut. Anyway, so
Yeah.
this was years back, and I just noticed in my really poorly covered lumber pile out back, like a 4 inch by 6 inch by, oh, 6 or 7 foot long beam, like a big old chunk of walnut. It's like, oh, this thing's got to be rotten by now. It was fine. It was dirty. And rather than raccoons, I think it probably had a fair amount of squirrel and chipmunk poop on it.
Hmm.
Um, I just brought it into my shop. I stuck it in there because I knew it's been out in the elements. I've had it in there for probably 6 months or so, and I just sawed into it, and it was, kind of gray and ugly on the outside. I sawed into it, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous. It's really beautiful wood. And let me two very distinct benefits about air dried walnut. Number one, most commercial walnut, because there's a fair amount of sapwood in walnut logs, and commercial lumber yards and manufacturers want to get as much mileage as they can out of the walnut. They will steam the walnut during the kiln drying process, which kind of evens out the color between the sapwood and the heartwood, but it also kills a lot of the color.
Hmm.
So we kind of warm it up with the orange shellac or even like a lemon yellow dye on top of the walnut before we finish it. There's a lot of things we can do, but that said, air dried walnut is just such a gorgeous color to it. And I'm guessing if this has been drying in a barn, it's probably all air dried stock. So the color is going to be fantastic. Um, Better than just about anything you can probably buy in a typical lumberyard today. And then second, because it's air dried, there are zero internal stresses in that I hated to cut up this 4 inch by 6 inch beam into 1/4 inch strips, which I needed for some box dividers for a class coming up. But I knew that they were going to be dead flat off the bandsaw, and they were. I mean, it just kind of falls off with no tension whatsoever. So for air dried walnut, the combination of the beautiful color, the combination of no internal stresses in the stock, I would be all over that. So
Yeah.
let me know where this guy lives. If you're not up for heading out there, I'll make sure to get out there as well.
Bring some gloves, bring a mask, right?
Yeah.
I yeah, I mean, I gotta believe that whatever was on top of those boards is only gonna be seeping in. Uh, let's be generous and say 1/4 of an inch, and it's just on the top board, right?
Yeah.
And anyways, you said it's a friend, so worst case scenario, you go out, you hang out with your friend, you get like maybe half the boards of that are worth it. And hopefully you have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really glad you said just go for it. Cause I was on the fence. I was with him. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Without a doubt.
All right. Well, quick ad to pay the bills. And, then we will hear from Megan.
Awesome. Looking forward to hearing that.
You know, when you're working on a project in the shop, putting in hours of effort, measuring, sanding, cutting, the last thing you want is for a project to come apart because the glue didn't hold. Trust me, I've had it happen. It's heartbreaking. That's why you should keep a bottle of Gorilla Wood Glue on the bench. It's non-foaming, cleans up with water, and dries a natural color. And of course, there's the reliable strength you can always trust. The bond is actually stronger than the wood itself. Also, check out Gorilla Wood Filler for strong, reliable, durable repairs with high-performance stainability, paintability, and sandability. You're left with a professional-looking, finished project every time. Gorilla is strong enough for the pros and easy enough for the beginner. Regardless of the user or job, every bond is built by you, backed by Gorilla. First off, I thought your name was Shannon. Your last name is Shannon. Megan Shannon. I am so sorry for referring to you as Shannon for a while, I think.
It happens my whole life.
Megan, you started, well, the name of the school started off differently, right? In 2022. Has it always been Tiny Bit of Wood, or was it?
Yeah,
It's always been Tiny Bit of Wood.
it's always a bit of wood. Yeah, it was just in a different location.
Okay. So let's start from the top. What possessed you to take this on? Because starting a wood school is not, it's not a sexy thing,
No,
probably, right?
no, no. It has aged me drastically.
Where did this dream come from?
Um, well, my actual background, like my professional background, is in teaching, and I taught in elementary school education for 15 plus years.
Okay.
I was just doing woodworking on the side. And then at one point, I left working as the public schools in the public schools and took on just woodworking by myself, just, like everybody else, making cutting boards and dining room tables in a barn by yourself. And that was kind of isolating for me to
Mm-hmm.
do. Um, and so I decided to see if people would be interested in learning this trade. And I opened up and started doing a couple classes out of my personal shop at home. And it kind of took off. And in the next year, I expanded to the larger location.
So your personal, like in your personal woodwork and everything, you like your Tiny Bit of Wood has um a set of guidelines. It seems like a set of like a moral compass or whatever.
Yeah,
But also in your personal woodworking, like you've been milling all of your own wood and everything like yourself for years now, right? This
yeah,
is like you've been walking this walk for a long time.
yeah. I think about a decade. I started really going into it full time in like 2014 ish.
And so that's like going into it full time as a woodworker and milling your own lumber, selling and doing commissions, all of that stuff. What like are you locally harvesting all of your own lumber still or
Yeah, mostly most of it. Like
okay.
I obviously don't produce plywood, so if we
Yeah.
need plywood somewhere, but I work with a couple local arborists that will call me and drop off lumber or logs when they have them, like, then the owner didn't want them, they will bring them to me, or sometimes I go get them. I have a lot of people just in the community that know I do this and will call me when they have like a walnut tree taken down, and if I can get to it, I'll go grab it. And recently I started working with the actual city of Lansing to start working with them to mill lumber that's been taken down for like other reasons in our city from the storm or from development. And I'm going to start milling some of that to use then in our school.
Real so like okay, so this is not where I initially thought this conversation was going to go, but let's real quick because
Sure.
this is something that somebody dreams, myself included. Everybody dreams about, oh, I'm going to get a mill and then I'm just going to start having logs delivered to the house. How do
Yeah.
you start conversations with arborists and things like that?
Um, I I think I knew of one arborist when I was before I ever owned a mill
Okay.
that I became friends with, and he was like, "Hey, I've got this." I think it was he had two ash logs and a sycamore log, and he just was like, "I'll give them to you if you want them." But I had no way to mill at that point, and then I connected with this old guy named Maury on Craigslist, actually. And
Okay. I love any story that starts old guy named Maury.
yeah, now I call it Milling with Maury, or Milling with Maury. And I think this was probably 7 years ago, I think, when I met him. And I would drop off logs to him and he would mill it, and then we would split the lumber.
Okay.
And he was in his late 70s at this point when I met him. Now he is, I think, 83. And he has just become like my adopted grandpa, and we
Okay.
worked the time. And so we then partnered up because I kept finding him logs, and then we partnered up and rented a small barn on a chunk of farmland and started milling together there. And now that he's a little bit older, like he's kind of passed it down to me after he's taught me how to do it. Now I upgraded to a better mill that was easier. The mill we used in the beginning, he built.
Okay.
Like he welded it, he built it.
I love Maury. We need to get Maury on.
Oh, you should get him for all of us. But it was pretty physically taxing to use. So I upgraded to a wood miser, obviously. And that's now at my location. And now he brings me logs and I mill them and he takes half the lumber, you know.
How big of a wood miser do you have?
Just the LT 25, I don't know, whatever one can do 22. It's just 22 inches, not huge.
And that seems to be the sweet spot for you because you obviously went into it knowing what you needed, right? So
it was more just what I could afford.
Okay, yeah, that's a sweet spot.
Yeah. The sticker price was what really made it, but
yeah.
I'm sure eventually I'll get a bigger one. But you know, he has a whole chainsaw jig that he taught me how to use to quarter sawn things when it's too big to get on there, and we do it all with pipes and pry bars, and we don't have tractors. We do it all with. It's great.
There's no hydraulics on the mill. It's just brute force and awkwardness.
Yeah, just a cane and a bunch of dented pipes.
That's great. So, okay, so you started this school just to be around more people. I love this. Like you're and
being a female. I think being a woodworker, no matter your gender or your race, can be a little isolating. You know, when you're just in your shop making 500 coasters. You know. But then I think being a queer female also added a whole nother level of it. And I just thought there were probably more people out there that want to get into this, you know, that maybe were also a little scared to start or couldn't afford to start or didn't have that opportunity. And it turns out I was definitely right.
So you're in Lansing. You're in like a retail environment. Most schools kind of, are like on a barn on some, you know, far away location. You're like in the heart of a community, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm right. I am. You can see the Lugnut Stadium from my location.
And the Lugnuts are.
I'm sorry. Nope. Yeah. The Lugnuts are the baseball field. So I am right downtown and I can right by the Capitol.
And has that worked for you? Has that worked? Like I would think it would be expensive.
It is a little expensive. I looked for other buildings to put this in, but I felt like anytime I found something that was big enough for school was also in kind of like an isolated industrial park type situation. And that to me just felt like, I don't know, like I just thought we could be more out and like right in the face of everybody and not quite so tucked behind into a weird little space. And this building is huge. It's 3,500 square feet. Not huge, but it's pretty large. It used to be an old bike shop and had just been kind of empty for 6 years. So I knew I had a little leverage to kind of try to talk rent down to something I could afford with the landlord. And he worked with me because I think he is really into the uniqueness of this shop being right downtown Lansing.
So it sounds like the building's locally owned, which is in my experience becoming a rarity these days. So finding a locally owned building and being able to tug at the heartstrings of the owner probably goes a long way. So what was the initial was there a lot of renovation you had to do? Was there what was the setup like?
Not really. I mean, the building was pretty open and empty. I added an wheelchair accessible and ADA bathroom.
Wow.
And drinking fountain. And then I just threw down a bunch of rubber flooring, you know, like gym flooring. And I wasn't too concerned. I didn't want to have like this building that was so built up and have, you know, everything so pristine and nice that then I had to pass on that cost to my students.
Okay.
So it was just a shop, you know? So I just plopped stuff down and I didn't do much renovation at all.
you're very smart about it, obviously. The reason why I asked is because your Instagram feed, everything looks so bright and warm and inviting. I kind of thought that you spent half a year renovating it or something just to make this, but that's
Mhm.
just what naturally came about.
Yeah. And the entire front is all windows.
Yeah.
The whole front of the building is south facing windows. So it just makes it seem, I do feel like it, you feel like you're just going to someone's art studio.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
personal, which it is. It's this shop I've been building for a decade.
Yeah. So, all right. So what kind of, I mean, and you don't need to get into numbers if you don't want to, but a part of me is like hoping that somebody is like, well, Megan did this. That sounds like a great idea. Maybe I can do something like this in my
Yeah.
hometown or whatever, right? So what kind of initial outlay were you able to just take the machines that you already had? Obviously you're milling your own lumber and everything, so that's a thing. But what do you have, planers and joiners? What kind of machinery are you dealing with at the school?
So in the downtown location for the school, we have a lot, primarily hand tools. I like to
Okay.
really to use a lot of hand tools and kind of slow down, chill out. I think it also helps people. Like 90% of my students have never picked up a hammer. They've never done anything. So I feel like using hand tools is also like a less intimidating approach
Hmm.
than firing up a table saw. But we do have several band saws. We have a saw stop, table saw, miter saw, joiners. But that's pretty much it. It's really quite small. The power tool setup that we have. And then where I mill all my lumber, which is still at my home, I have a giant planer and a giant joiner, and I process everything there and then bring it here.
Okay, so a lot of the classwork prep is happening at home.
Yeah.
So people are coming in with boards ready to go. And okay, so that is yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think many times seeing, a big 20-inch wide planer can be intimidating, or a 12-inch joiner all of a sudden is still a little
Sure. Yeah, it is.
off-putting for many people. Yeah. In woodworking, there's no room for compromise. DAP's Weldwood 2-in-1 wood glue and filler is the new tool every shop needs. But what makes it truly innovative is its dual function. Beyond its superior high-strength bond as a wood glue, it's also a high-performance wood filler, tackling fine joinery and tricky repairs with ease. Its thick, non-sag consistency stays put, bonding joints and filling gaps up to 1/8 of an inch for flawless, seamless work. Once dry, it sands and stains just like wood. Simplify your workshop without sacrificing quality. Get the new DAP Weldwood 2-in-1 wood glue and filler today. So when you started, has the class lineup changed as you've gone, as you figured out what worked, what the community wants? When you started, were you doing one set of classes and now you find yourself doing something else? I mean, your website has, I think I scrolled, it looked like your October classes were like, I gotta say, like in the dozen or something.
It
I
was
mean, you're busy.
quite a few. Yeah. You know, like I could build you a really nice armoire,
Yeah.
but I cannot build a really nice website. So,
Oh, I thought your website, it's great, for the
well,
record.
no, if you get on my website with big internet, and you're on it on a computer with big internet, it looks great. If you get on my website on little internet on a phone, it just is really kind of hard to navigate. But
Oh, okay, gotcha.
it can just look like just this crazy list of
Okay.
things. But I think I have expanded. I started just doing, I think, 5 different topics like frame, cutting board. Trying to think of what my other like 5 ones that I started with, a little box. And now I think I'm up to 80 different class topics that I rotate throughout all of the semesters. So I do like a semester's just like a college, spring, summer, winter, fall. And I usually have 3 weekends of classes. So about 12 each month.
Wow. Okay. So I guess if you do it that way, you're more likely to have people who progress along with the curriculum. I'm doing air quotes when I say curriculum. But have you found that you've got people who started off taking classes with you 3 years ago and they're still going?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And like, I kind of actually have been, I think I have 20 plus students that have started taking classes 3 years ago and have just gotten better and better and keep coming back. Several of them have taken almost every class I've offered. And at this point, they have really grown so much as woodworkers. And I have kind of been adding more difficult classes like as we go, just as my clientele grows and as my students grow.
Yeah. Are
Instead of
you
I didn't want to just fire off like we are going to make this class is $1,000. We are going to make this pristine, and that's all beautiful, but not very attainable for a lot of folks. So
yeah.
I didn't want it to be that way, and just be kind of a more like, what am I going to do on Friday? Let's go try to make bookends, and just something that was more loose and fun without quite so much pressure to produce this manufactured looking, you know, coffee
Well,
table.
and that's one thing that I love about everything that you do. It seems to be very like come down, have fun. This isn't
Like,
like you don't have to like become like a plaid wearing woodworker that's like sitting there like with a Sloyd knife hanging off your belt and or whatever. Like
yeah.
you can just come down and experience it and enjoy yourself. And if it's for you, great. And if not, like I'm glad I hope you had a good time or
I
whatever.
know,
Right?
100%. That is exactly what I'm going for.
I think that so many schools miss that audience.
I think
Uh,
we're so eager to teach people and get them all that these skills that I do think we tend to, just in America in general, like rush everything. We
mhm.
just everything's so rushed. And um I think like I hope that in another 5 years I have a class where we're making this Philip Morley looking, bar
Yeah.
cart. I would love to get there, but I'm not in a rush to do it.
So are you the teach? Are you teaching all of the classes? Have you brought anyone else in as instructors?
Not yet. That I think is one of my next steps, is to bring an instructor in and kind of teach them some of the classes. I have brought in other counselors during summer camp. So when I do a kids summer camp, and then
That
counselors come in. And I just recently started having some other instructors come in, but they are teaching different topics. Like we've got someone doing some ceramics, some drawing classes, watercolor. But I'm the only instructor for most of the woodworking classes right now.
okay. So you just hit on two things that I was very eager to cover, and we need to dive in a little bit deeper. First one is summer camps, which is something that so many people would be scared to death of, myself
They,
included.
yeah, yeah.
So, was this with your background as a teacher? Was this something that came naturally to you that you're like, oh, I should just do this, or was this something that was like, oh, we need to find a thing, you know?
It is, so teaching kids and being able to offer kids classes was my main motivation. It's why I wanted to start the school in the first place. Adults are fine, but they're definitely not my favorite. Kids are way fun. But to start a school for kids just seemed too daunting for me at first, and to find insurance and all of that stuff, it was just, and I think because my shop was at my home, or the school
Yeah.
was at my first, and you needed to go in my house, like turn right at the laundry basket for the bathroom. So I started with adults first, but kids were definitely my goal. And I worked to figure all that out and make this curriculum and get insurance and figure everything out it took me almost 2 years before I was able to open kids classes.
Okay, so sorry, you hit another thing that I was going to ask about because this is something that people always talk about, insurance in a situation like this,
Yeah.
especially with kids. So do you have a special like is your insurance broker just like y'all this is nuts.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I called almost a dozen different places before I was able to find one that would insure kids classes. Once I answered, are they going to have tools? I said yes. They were like, we won't do this. So it took a really long time. I finally found an insurance broker that was really willing to like get in there and try to help me find it. And eventually he found me a policy that would cover it, but it was difficult.
Okay. Because I would think just in general, insurance for a woodworking school is a barrier.
Yeah, it is.
But so you're probably paying a premium to have kids in the workshop, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's a big chunk. I don't really know if I necessarily will ever make enough off of kids classes but I don't know.
That's not the primary concern here.
No, I'm going to keep going till I just, if I get tanked at some point, that happens, but I'm just going to keep going the way I want to as long as I can.
Okay, so like, what kind of classes are you doing with the kids? Like, is it just like, is it like an open shop thing, or are they coming in to do particular things? What's it like?
Okay, it kind of depends. So when I have Saturday 2-hour classes for kids, I have all ages come together. So I do all the way from 5 to 16 in the same group. And I have some like project based ones. Like one is we're going to make a small toolbox or a bird feeder. I have a stool class where they get to make a little 3-legged stool using, spoke shave and shave horses. And those ones, what am I answering? Yeah, those ones are just project based 2 hours and they come and that's what we make and then they leave. And then when schools have a break, like winter break or summer break, they come for the whole week. And I have it kind of spaced out each day, just like you would in a classroom, with breakups of like half-hour activities. And usually in the morning, I teach them about a tool each day. So they grow their toolbox as the week goes on, and they learn about how to use a handsaw. And then they get a free build, a chunk of time where they get to free build with that skill they learned. And then usually towards the end of the day, we work on a community build. So one of them that we did last year was a little free library that I have not yet completely finished, but then it will go outside the shop and we're going to put food in it, a little free food pantry. So at the end, if they want to, if the kids are really into what they're building, they don't have to come participate, but they can. And throughout the summer, each week we work on it some more. And then at the end, we have made, something.
Talk about community building and like instilling the sense of pride in like little kids who will be walking by to go to the stadium. I've dropped data on what the name of the team is. Sorry, but we'll be walking by and thinking, I helped build that.
Yeah, that was my hope. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jazzed right now. So cool. So you've got kids there like during winter break or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They are dropped off at 9 and picked up at 3 or something, or how does it?
This was my first year doing it. And there's a certain amount of time you can have kids at a location before you have a childcare license.
Oh, see, this is why we're talking.
It's a lot. It is a lot. So this summer being my first one, they came from 10 to 2. So I could have her for 4 hours a day for 4 days, but that was it. So they just came for half the day. Next summer we'll get a childcare license and then they'll come from, 8:30 to 5:30. But this summer was a little bit different.
Okay. So another logistical concern, I'm thinking like lunch breaks and like, yeah, it just seems like it would be a lot to take on. So props to you, but
I saw how all this was run like in a school. I saw how like aftercare was run. So I'm just mimicking it, and then doing what I learned in that field.
And how many kids will you have in a session?
10.
10 kids. And it's just you, or is there a helper there?
There'll be, I have 2 helpers. So it's a 1 to 3 ratio. Okay. So there's 3 adults and 10 kids.
Wow. Okay. All right. That would help a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to, 10 kids would easily overwhelm me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what all right, so you're doing like camp type sessions, and then so the Saturday afternoon you've got like bookend projects. What else are you doing with kids?
Um, you mean like what other class topics do
Yeah,
I do?
yeah.
Uh, oh my gosh. Well, I just added one that's like making a gear board. Like we got wooden gears and bolts, and we're gonna drill them all through so they can make gears move and do different stuff. I do have one session that is like a short open build where they can just come make whatever their crazy brains have in mind. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I'm kind of blanking.
What's the wackiest stuff that you've had kids make? I mean,
Oh my gosh. I had so many things. One kid was like, I think you could get this board cheaper on Temu if you need some. It's like, kid, you're probably right, but I'm not going to do it. I had a little boy build a haunted house, and then a whole balcony came off the front of it. And that balcony was for his imaginary turtle, which was super cute, very sweet. I don't even know. Kids have built so much stuff. It's unreal.
that's awesome.
I
That's
give them
awesome.
springs, and they make like wooden blocks that like have springs as legs, and they bounce all over. It's
Great. Yeah, so just letting them do whatever they want and letting their imaginations run wild and learning some tool use in between. That's pretty awesome. Is I mean, of course, spoke shave's like the favorite tool of children. Is that am I wrong there?
They do really like it. I have they really like the spoke shave. Surprisingly enough, actually, they also really, really like files and rasps. There is always one boy who just wants to file their way through a board all the way. Like
Okay.
they get really into that. I also have like a grizzly, the bench top grizzly bandsaw.
Yeah.
I have a little one of those that I teach them how to use, and I let them use it with my supervision, and they love that one. They
Okay.
love.
What about scrolls? So I'm right now. My son is in seventh grade, and they have a pretty good tech ed program at his middle school. And he was complaining that everyone in his class really likes using the scroll saws, and he likes using the bandsaw. But yeah, so I mean, do you have a scroll saw there? Is that a favorite or?
I do, but I don't think I've ever really brought it out. I don't.
Okay.
Only time I ever feel like I need to use a scroll saw is when I need to cut the like inside of an O out. The
Yeah,
rest of
yeah.
the bandsaw that I go to. So I've never really given them the opportunity to use that. But
Well, yeah, I mean, but you're the thing that I really like is that you're not treating them like these like little precious things that can't do anything. You're like, no, use the bandsaw.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, they do great.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and they um most kids the first time they use a bandsaw do so much better than when I teach adults how to. The first time an adult uses it, they're all nervous, and kids are like they are very mindful when they use it. They know they could hurt themselves and they don't want to, so they are very present, and they usually just do an absolute phenomenal job.
That's awesome. All right. So you mentioned that you have other crafts in there. So like there's ceramics. Do you have a kiln there? Or
No, so the instructor that we have coming in, she has her own separate studio where she
okay.
is a professional potter. Is that what you call them? She has a kiln, so she does like a lot of hand built classes, and then she takes everything home, fires it, and students pick it up later.
Okay. Okay. Because that seemed like a whole different infrastructure. So
Yeah,
there you don't have like a whole bunch of wheels.
wheels. No,
Okay.
mm-mm.
Is that what they're called? They're just called wheels?
Think so. Yeah,
Okay.
think so.
Okay. So ceramics and then some painting. What else is
Draw.
going on? Drawing?
Yep. Observational drawing. We just started doing a life drawing. And then what else do we do? Paper making. Oh, I can't remember. And screen printing. We have a person who does stamp carving and screen printing and that kind of art.
Paper making.
Paper making is wild. People love it.
So, all right. So was this always part of the plan to have other things in there too? Or
Yeah.
okay.
The shop could be open, classes could be running, but I don't need to be teaching them.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
my, and to also like people that maybe wouldn't want to do woodworking into the shop to do something else and help maybe, get them to think I could do this too.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to make it, yeah. Just want that shop to be constantly teaching in some way.
So like, yeah, anytime somebody walks by, there's something going on.
Usually.
Yeah. That's amazing. So what's been the hardest part of running a school to you that you didn't see coming?
That I didn't, well, I can tell you the hardest one that I did see coming.
Yeah.
It is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And because my main goal was to try to make this so accessible to people, and that meaning like, not just welcoming and I don't know what the other word is, but to make it inviting and less stressful. I also really wanted it to be affordable.
Yeah.
So to make it affordable for most people that don't have a lot of disposable income, that could afford to go to more higher end woodworking schools, it is so hard to teach enough classes to be able to pay all the bills and pay rent and pay everything else that happens and not make classes out of reach for most people. So that has been really challenging for me this whole time, was to somehow do that.
So, I mean, you're basically doing more classes because you're charging like more like class sessions
Sure.
because you're charging less than many would.
Yeah.
So therefore you're giving up your time and sanity most of the time in order.
Yeah.
Has that been a struggle for you to find a balance?
Yeah.
Or have you found a balance, to be honest?
I have found a balance in like how many hours I will allow myself to put in before I just kind of realize that, I'll make rent but I can't, I don't know, but I can't work that much. So I have kind of in the last year scaled back how much I work, but we basically still come up with the money for bills on the first, and it wipes out everything, and then we start over again. But
yeah.
It's worth it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it is. I don't mean I guess. It is worth it, but it is definitely challenging to stay positive and keep going. Luckily, I have a partner who is willing to like basically pay for our entire home so that I keep doing this until hopefully we can make enough money to pay myself at some point. But
as they say, behind any good woodworker is a partner with benefits, that like that's got the health insurance paid for and or whatever,
Yeah.
So.
No, that could not be more true.
Yeah. So, all right. So you've created this community environment that, is welcoming to all ages and everything. I know that you are a huge proponent in, accepting anyone and everyone into the classroom and the curriculum. Like where do you stand? Like, what is the average age of your student? Do you have stats like this? Or because let me tell you right now, most woodworking schools, if they had stats on this, it would be the average age of the student is, I'm going to say 55.
Yeah.
And they're going to look the way that we all, exactly alike and whatever. They're going to look and act a lot like me, we'll say.
Sure.
So
which isn't bad. It isn't
no, but like let's we all know that it's a fun thing. So let's get everyone in here, right? So your average age has got to be like nothing compared to most schools.
No, it is. There was one class I did that was like a weekend long introduction to power tools, and they come for 2 days, and we really dive deep into being able to get a chance to use them all. And I had 9 students, 9 adults, and I think the youngest was still in college, and the oldest, I believe, was like in her 60s and like had a dad who was a carpenter but just never would teach her. And so she came. I mean, she was this older woman, and every bench, each person looks and acts completely different than the other. Like, it is such a diverse classroom every time.
That had to be part of the goal. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, right? That's
for sure. Yeah, it was. I actually did a dovetail class, and I had a woman. Her name is Eve. She's now become a regular fixture. She was, I think, like late 70s during this class. And then I had two other students who had taken the dovetail class multiple times because they really wanted to get it like right, like, and she just came in not really caring about anything, and she cut the best hand dovetails I have ever seen anyone do on the first try. And she was like an old woman with tie-dyed Crocs in her 70s. And it was like, whoop, just fit. Phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Everyone was jealous of her.
That's great. Yeah, my wife is a weaving teacher, and she'll come in, she'll go, I'm not the youngest one in the room today, and it's a big deal for her, if there's, but she too, even in weaving, she's starting to see, she's like, I've got a guy in this session, and she's all excited, because there's a man that's wanting to learn how to weave, so
great.
Hopefully all of these crafts become more diverse rooms and welcoming environments. So okay, so like, I mean, where do you, like, I know that this is a small business. I know this is a strange time and everything. Do you see yourself hopefully bringing in other instructors? Do you see yourself like getting a little bit more free time for yourself? Like, is this, what's the future look like, you think, or you hope?
I do hope to at some point hire an instructor to then teach how to be able to work in the wood shop and teach some of the class topics that I have, so I can have a few more weekends off. I'd still like to keep branching out on other topics as well, just to keep it in there. And then, long-term goal is to eventually be able to afford to, I don't know. I mean, I would love to own the building that the school, that would make a huge difference financially for me. But, yeah, I think, right now is I kind of go in 2-year increments. And right now I'm hoping to just kind of, keep the summer camp going and expanding, keep getting other instructors, and just kind of grow naturally and see what happens.
I think that's a really good, like, a 2-year outlook. Like,
yeah,
that's a bite that I think everybody needs a little bit more of that right now. It's like, let's think about the next, 2 years. What are we going to be able to do in 2 years? And sometimes just like, being able to maintain what we have going for the next 2 years is.
I don't want too big. We are working on becoming a nonprofit so that the school can operate as a nonprofit, which it already is. We already operate exactly like a nonprofit. No, I'm definitely not profiting off classes. And then I'll still make furniture if people want it, and that will be a separate entity. Then I think we'll really be able to get a lot more sponsorships.
Yeah.
Like, company wants to help sponsor summer camp. So I guess one of my goals is to eventually be able to get sponsorships so that I can just say to my community, I have woodworking summer camp that's free to the community, and just be able to let these kids come in no matter what their parents can afford.
So sorry, another logistical question. I would almost think it's expensive to become a nonprofit initially or something. What's that process been like? I know you're in the beginning stages, but
we are. It's not really very expensive. I had a law firm who was kind enough to work pro bono to help me figure out all of this stuff and help me, because they do. The community here really, really appreciates what we have. And they know I'm very transparent with how hard this is. And so people really do step up to kind of help me be able to get there. I think the hardest part is that it's going to take 9 months for me to, get approved. And I've got to split up all my assets, and tiny bit of wood or tiny bit of school has to rent the shop from tiny bit of wood. And none of it really makes sense, but I just listen to
yeah, just check the boxes that they tell you to check and move on.
Yeah. not very expensive to do.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it says something that, you've got people willing to help out pro bono. And I mean, obviously you're just creating a integral part of the community. And that was obviously your main goal going forward. Well, I mean, thank you so much for coming in. Is there anything else that you think people should know about the school or the process or anything? I've always watched your page and just really loved everything you have going on. And you seem to have a never ending supply of enthusiasm. And, like, I'm sure it doesn't always feel like that internally, but, I just always feel like I'm so grateful that you're a steward of this craft and that you're out there like fighting the good fight. So maybe this is just me saying, like, from fine woodworking and everything, like, just thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thanks. I really appreciate it. I'm having an absolute blast. I'm having an absolute blast doing it.
Well, that does it for this episode of Shop Talk Live. Make sure to head on over to Instagram and follow Tiny Bit of Wood. Show Megan some love and just join in on being inspired by the work that she's doing. I cannot stress that enough. I'm grateful for her presence in the woodworking community. If you're watching on YouTube, click that thumbs up button. And if you are following along on Discord, thank you so much. If you're not, there's a link in the doobly-doo. And to everyone out there who is an unlimited member, thank you so much. Subscribers, thank you so much. Y'all are the wind beneath our wings around here at the podcast. You're making it go for us. All right, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Thanks for listening.